Microsoft and the Xbox brand are sitting pretty right now. Yes, things are changing. This is obviously a stark contrast to what we saw with the Xbox One. And just going back to kind of what we saw back then, we saw a lot of hate, a lot of discourse, just a lot of uncertainty about the Xbox brand. Nobody was sure what was going to happen long term. And now enter Phil Spencer, and some years have passed. Clearly, Microsoft is on the right path for themselves. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right path for everybody, but what Microsoft is doing can no doubtedly be called a failure anymore, or realistically, we can't even say that they're technically losing to Sony in so many ways. I know that's something that a lot of people like to talk about, but for me personally, I always feel like Coke and Pepsi can coexist, and they're both very successful. You might prefer one over the other, but they're both going to be there. It's the same thing with pretty much anything that comes out. Maybe you're a Ford guy, maybe you're a Chevy guy, right? Maybe you're a football fan and your football team is good, or maybe you're a football fan and your football team is bad. These are all kind of the ins and outs of these things, and they don't have to be exactly the same. Microsoft out here making some big announcements, clearly, and Sony actually kind of helped Microsoft in a way with an announcement. And you know what? This is just one of those things that really kind of comes about as kind of surprising that this has happened, and I want to get into it. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm the Crap Gamer, and of course, this is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, but hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like, and possibly, maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. I get that you guys are all busy. You have lives, wives, husbands, kids, parents, grandparents, friends, all that kind of good stuff. And I just really appreciate anybody that takes time out to watch one of my silly videos. I do enjoy making them. I love video games. Hopefully that comes across to you guys with how passionate I am about this stuff. I continue to try to get better and better with each passing day. So hopefully you guys notice that. And I also, if you guys have any kind of recommendations for stories you'd like to see or something you'd like to see change, let me know. I would appreciate that. So we know that the Xbox Series consoles have been doing quite well. We also know that there's issues with stock, supply shortages, and things like that. Again, this is just something that is common sense by now. Sony is no doubt ahead of the game with, so many consoles sold. But now, thanks to shortages and things like that, it looks like Microsoft is much, much closer than we could have imagined at this particular point in time. And this is, yes, Sony is facing supply shipments, and so is Microsoft. But the fact that these things, after a year, is so close, we're actually seeing some great competition, and this is very beneficial to Microsoft because they actually have a lot of momentum going. And it's the worst thing to happen to Sony because they're kind of, really living off of the PS4's glory, and the longer they wait, the more announcements can come from Xbox, and then people decide to change their minds. Just like with that situation with the retailer where they put up a notification that, hey, Microsoft now owns Activision, choose your console wisely. So Sony's lifetime shipments of PS4 or PS5s have now only been to 17.2 million. I know that I say only, but it's actually the unfortunate side that they've now fallen behind the PlayStation 4. So Sony revised second-year forecast due to lower PlayStation 5 sales resulting from shortages in the supply of components, especially semiconductors. In its quarter 3 fiscal year 2021 results for the 3-month period ending December 2021, Sony announced that the PlayStation 5 shipped 3.9 million units. This brought its lifetime shipments to 17.2 million units worldwide. The PS4 shipped 200,000 units and hits 116.8 million units in its lifetime, so almost 117 million for the PS4. Shipments for the PS5 and PS4 were down 0.6 million and 1.2 million compared to the same period in the previous fiscal year. Sony has revised its previous forecast where it aimed to surpass the PS2's second-year sales of 14.8 million. This is due to an expected decrease in PlayStation 5 hardware unit sales, primarily due to shortages in the supply components, especially semiconductors that are hard to come by. Operating income is expected to be higher than the October forecast, actually due to the expected decrease in selling general and administrative expenses. A new forecast was not provided But combined software sales for both platforms hit 92.7 million for the quarter, which is also down from 104.2 million sold in the previous quarter. Of the titles sold, 11.3 million were first party, where 7.7 million were third party. However, digital downloads now comprise 62% of total software sales compared to the previous fiscal year's 53%. As for PlayStation Plus, subscribers continue to rise, hitting 48 million in the quarter, which is up 600,000 compared to the previous quarter in the fiscal year. So yeah, it's very interesting to see how these things are kind of changing. And again, going into what Microsoft has announced, we know that they're starting to kind of come out there and go, well, we're doing this, we're ahead of the game. They could be at 13 million or more right now. So they've really kind of taken full advantage of what's going on with Sony, and that's kind of a little bit of a slap. And more people are talking about Xbox because, hey, what are they going to buy next? Are they going to buy, Take-Two, things like that? I think that's going to be the question that people would have to kind of realize. And it's so interesting how the roles have sort of reversed between Microsoft and Sony, whereas Microsoft, it looks like they're going to make stuff, and again, it might be a little bit too early to tell, but it looks like Call of Duty, the mainline games, will probably eventually become Xbox exclusive, and that's a stark contrast from what Sony is doing with Destiny and other future Bungie games, right? So Microsoft has already said, hey, we're going to be making a lot of these games exclusive and things like that. Whereas when we look at Sony, I can still remember when this was announced and people weren't sure if Microsoft was going to make Call of Duty exclusive. A lot of people said, well, I know if Sony bought Activision, for sure Call of Duty would be exclusive. It's like times are changing, things are changing. For some reason, Microsoft is now more looked at as the brand that's worried about like exclusive content and things like that, locking down like the exclusives that so many people kind of, I guess, I don't want to say took for granted, but I do want to say like in general, gamers were kind of just maybe kind of looking at what Microsoft's offerings were and maybe not. And I get that they're console exclusive or whatever, but that's the way the industry's going. So they'll have games on, the phone and that, but that stuff doesn't matter to me. Same thing with Sony. Like Sony will have stuff on, phones and stuff like that. Just for me personally, I just feel like Microsoft actually realizes that exclusive content matters, and Sony seems to be going the opposite direction and more interested in like games that can pay and games that can really excite people or whatever, and get more players in. Which again, if you're going to be doing things that a third party does, then just be third party. Like I said that about Microsoft years ago as well. But it's a stark contrast. I think people really kind of just aren't realizing what a stark change this is for everything, right? Like Microsoft bought Bethesda, and they're these big games are going to be exclusive to the Xbox, right? Sony bought Bungie and the future exclusives. Like I can't get over this, how ridiculous it is that Sony bought that company and aren't going to really reap anything for the gamers, right? Like you're not getting anything extra, any bonus, anything like that from Sony buying them. Like literally, there's nothing going to be happening from this. So yeah, it's a very interesting situation, and I gotta say, it's kind of a slapping, man. Microsoft really kind of laying it on the line, doing things the way that Sony used to do things, while Sony's doing things the way that everybody was assuming Microsoft was doing things. And now the Xbox Series consoles are catching up even in terms of sales. It could be 13 plus million compared to the 17 million now. It's getting closer and closer, and it should continue to stay close. With that being said, thank you guys very much. I'm going to link all of this in the description. You fine folks can check it out. Let me know what you think. I hope you all have fantastic days. Thank you so very kindly for checking out one of my videos. Please leave a like. It does take a lot of work to do these videos. I try to do them every day. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Rack 'em up. Fact 'em up. Crap Gamer 'em up. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.